Time to do some sketchy shit. Doo-dah, doo-dah. Hope I get away with it. Oh, the doo-dah day.
Word of warning, folks. If you're going to Hallowcon, you have only 7 days left to get prepared. It's going to be awesome. And here's Donna. Here's Carl. And if you excuse me for a second, I'm going to send a link to Mike Jimmy. And I don't know who else is awake and aware at this hour. Awake and aware is the thing.
Who let Winston in here?
Okay, I did send Rich the invitation, and oh Lord, how long has it been since I talked to Mike Jimmy? I'm having to scroll down quite a ways.
Oh.
Yeah, really. Amateur green room. Da 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 da. I mean, this is going on. This scroll is going on for longer than the Dead Sea ones. So,
Wow, that was very off the hook. Stupid o'clock.
That was we. I mean, seriously.
We came close to green room several times.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, I don't know whether to apologize for that or be proud of it, but
I'm going to put my
I behaved.
Stupid o'clock mug now because
Hey,
I behaved poorly.
Hey, pour that full of brandy and you'll be fine. Hey, Mike.
Or without being distracted. Oh man.
Believe me, if you've watched Stupid O'Clock, you're far more than distracted. You're
crap.
You're disturbed. No, I apparently woke up for once. Yeah, life has been weird.
Okay. It is available in reruns if it hasn't been censored in your area.
Oh dear. Oh dear.
We were having fun, and I think between Rich and I, we kind of bent a
Me?
few rules.
I'm the innocent youngin.
Who? It was Bill who brought up the.
Yes, it was Bill that
What
broke
did I
the
do?
internet there.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Bill
Yeah.
brought up adult toys in adult Happy Meals.
Mm.
And
Oh.
So
Yeah,
my
Oh.
brain immediately went to Grimace's shape and what he would be perfect for.
Yeah, and he's always been shaped that way. I mean, seriously, even on the TV commercials back in the 70s.
How a purple cone is a shake, I have no clue.
No, not at all.
No,
idea.
and as I was saying, there was a British artist that did a sculpture of a Christmas tree, which was exactly that
Yeah.
adult toy.
Yeah, like 30 feet tall or something as well.
Yeah, really, yeah. See,
no,
proof positive somebody besides me hallucinated that.
no. It happened.
You should have seen one of the trees at the corner of our house when we first bought it.
yeah.
Beautiful evergreen. They trimmed it up as far as they could. And I'm standing there and
Oh,
looking up and going,
Very phallic.
Yeah, no.
that's on the main artery through Danville.
I've never seen a tree with one of those toppers
That was it.
before.
That was a dick move.
Okay.
We finally had to cut it down.
Well, not because of that, because since we didn't trim it, it
There you go,
eventually
Dan.
bushed out.
It is real. It is from Paris. It is a Christmas tree.
Donna,
Yes.
this is not the green room. Stop giving me straight lines. Ah!
Preparing you for tomorrow night.
There is a little
Or
bit
do
more
you have to
latitude.
work tomorrow?
No, I don't go back to work until Saturday night.
Yes.
So there will be no stupid o'clock for me. There will be no last man standing for anybody,
Okay.
But there
unless
will be
Joe
a green
Dog does
room.
it. But I will be in the green room tomorrow night if nothing earth-shattering happens. So.
You don't have to share what I'm sharing, Dan, but for the people at home who want to see this is real, this was Paris a couple of years ago.
Hey, Chris.
Chris, are you anywhere near home yet, or are you still on the road? I can send you an invitation no matter when, but go ahead, Mike Jimmy.
You know, the thing is, the name Grimace.
Yeah, I never understood that.
No, I'm
That's-
just thinking that
that's no
fits in with the other usage.
Yeah.
Like maybe because if you drink it too fast, brain freeze, shake, Grimace, or maybe
Why-
the people who were creating the characters were just really
I don't think a
fucking
brain freeze was exactly what they had in mind.
Why did they give Grimace and the Hamburglar and the little birdie
guys?
thing 4 eyes?
Oh yeah, Birdie, yeah, those toes. Oh, God.
God,
It's like something out of a Lovecraftian nightmare.
They were holding their smokes like this.
okay. Because it fit.
And then the Grimace one has the little pegs to make sure that it's not going to come out like those little fish that swim up your.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey.
Yep. Well, there's two reasons I'm never going swimming in the Amazon River. That's the second.
Oh, Lord.
No, thank you for parasites. Okay.
Oh,
And we've just started.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. This is the start of my day.
And I'm sober.
No, Dan.
I know, right?
makes you wonder how they came up with the term golden parachute.
But I have been up since 4 a.m., so that's why my brain is kind of fried.
Uh-oh.
I cannot. No. Ask me tomorrow.
After about 7 Central Time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hopefully I will remember. Good grief. No, I'm not broken. I'm just bent and twisted.
No, just remember to ask Ted next week about that story. No, I can't tell it because it was a green room story, but also I can't tell it as well as Ted because Ted was there.
Mm.
We'll have to ask him at Hallowcon.
Yeah.
Oh.
And after we get him away from Christine, probably, because he'll be shy to tell it in front of his wife. Don't ask me why, but he's just like that. Hi, Ted, if you want.
Hey, baby.
So, a couple of updates for me. One, I got a girlfriend now. So, my life has been active. I've been all over the place. Two, I quit smoking. Been holding up for a week now.
Ooh.
Don't ask me
This
how.
in the green room is going to be a bad influence on that resolve.
Oh, yeah.
Congratulations on both fronts.
There's
Yeah,
3 hours.
really. And best of luck with both.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Trying and getting by. So, I guess,
Hey, gonna be hard work on both of them. Let me tell you.
Dang, my hopes for next year is out there. Never mind.
So, I found the easiest way to quit
There's
smoking
always a spot for you at Hallowcon.
is being a cheap bastard.
This is true.
I made a bet with a friend of who could stop smoking longer. And then after a few weeks of not smoking, I realized that I was having fewer migraines, and smoke was actually a trigger for my migraines.
Love my older brother Dale to death.
And you're willing to strangle him to prove it?
Nah, he's already gone. So.
Oh, sorry.
That would be gilding a lily.
He was a drunk, and seeing who he was married to, I don't blame him for that.
Oh, I would have drunk all the time too if I were married.
But he also smoked a lot from the time he was a teenager, and he finally, I think in his 40s, he decided he wasn't going to smoke or drink anymore, and he tried to go cold turkey with both of them.
Oh,
at the same time?
You don't go cold turkey on alcohol.
Not when you're a German baker, no.
Just in general, like your body is gonna look for calories where in a way that they don't get them anymore. Like that is not okay.
So
what's left is alternatives.
His wife begged him to start something, find some device, so he went back to drinking. Like I say, can't blame him there, considering who he was living with. But he did quit smoking.
That's a good improvement, at least.
I do hope that y'all don't blame any of my bad habits on Lindsay, because she's been a very good influence on me.
No. We blame all your good habits on her.
There you go.
The bad habits are just residual damage from earlier problems.
Yeah, probably.
I was going to say
blame that on my first wife. Or
I was going to say encourage the bad habits to counterbalance it.
We shall see. Events haven't eventuated in that direction eventually, but good habits, yep. Every good habit I've got came from her. Um, my smart-ass personality is left over from the bad habit days. So she's trying, but
I didn't. My mom was a smart ass. Love her. She was, but she was a smart ass.
It gets in your blood. It really does. I don't know. I don't know whom in my family I got it from. Probably some distant ancestor. Probably the one that got them thrown out of England. But it's
yeah.
I make no apologies. I am what I am. As Popeye said,
Yeah.
I am what I am.
Well, long before there was the common people, shall we say, knew about nature versus nurture.
Mm-hmm.
My mom said, well, it's being around us that's made you what you are.
Wow. Well, they're to blame then.
That's a hell of an admission right there.
One of her favorite things to say to me was, if I didn't know better, sway belonged to your father.
Insanity doesn't run in my family. It sits on the front porch with a. It sits on the front porch with a Jack and Coke and enjoys itself the entire time watching the world go by.
Yeah. Well, my father's father died when I was 25. And we found out exactly why I wasn't, never felt welcome at their place. And in the
too cute,
will, he wrote two of us out because we were adopted. We weren't blood of his blood, flesh of his flesh.
That's rather chauvinistic.
My mom heard about that, and she said, if they'd have spent more time with you, they'd have found out you're just like him. Okay, whatever.
One of my favorite excuses is, I am my father's son, but my dad was a hell of a lot better guy than I am. Not quite as sarcastic and not quite as outspoken, but morally, yep, can't get too much closer.
Yeah, which is the worst once you get to have to do a lot of things together.
Oh shoot, yes. My father and I knocked heads so much because we were so much alike.
Yep.
And he was a smart ass too. But I don't think he meant to be a smart ass. Now, my mom meant to be a smart ass. But yeah, and my dad would say anything that would pop into his head. My favorite example is I was 19. My first date, construction worker that I'd met at the restaurant I worked at. And I was a little concerned that he'd be upset because Howard was 30 and I was only 19. So, we're waiting for him to come, and I'm for Howard to come pick me up, and Dad's not home yet. And I'm like, he's going to be upset, Mom. And she says, well, just I'm here. We'll take it from there. My dad and my mom both were like 5'1", something like that. I was 5'8". And Howard was 6'4". Yeah, I like you tall guys.
Mm-hmm.
Cheers.
Howard come, he's sitting on the hassock rather, talking to my mom in the living room. My dad comes home. And he goes to shake hands with Howard, and Howard stands up.
And stands up and stands
And
up.
my dad
and
looks up at him and
stands up.
goes, "You're a big son of a bitch, aren't you?" Okay. It's
Yeah.
going to be all right because he hasn't even noticed how old the guy is.
Probably can't see from up there.
Nostrils don't really tell age.
He didn't say that to me, but then again, I wasn't quite that tall. I was only 6'2".
Yeah.
Oh, I've seen your naughty smile. Of course you didn't.
Hmm. Yep, it's basically don't do anything she doesn't ask you to do.
I think he's happy with me because I bought her a big house. Although when we got married, he told me no backseas. So I couldn't return her.
Of course, I was in my 30s when we got married.
Brand new 280Z. That money is spent.
I spoiled her, so he was happy with me.
Hey,
But he didn't want her back because I spoiled her. He was like, no, you spoiled her now. I'm not taking her back. Sorry. I said, okay, I'll keep her.
Actually, you went to first. It was my brothers who spoiled me first. Everybody thought it was my mom because I was the only girl, but nope. It was my brothers. It was hard finding another man to treat me like they did.
There you go.
Not saying my brothers were saints. When I was 4, my brother Dale shot Santa Claus and stuffed him for me. My mother was so mad that he told me that. And I couldn't figure out how stuffing Santa made him only 1 foot tall.
Well, he's kind of short to begin with.
Well, now you know how he got down all the chimneys. He was so small.
Yeah. Oh, you can shrink.
Central American tribes used to shrink heads. I mean, seriously.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say the joke that's on my mind.
Not
Because I'm a Dutch person, and if you
Mike, Jimmy, you deserve being in the green room. Let me tell you right now, from experience.
Usually we have to talk about shrinkage.
It's not that cold yet.
It is the Christmas is coming up. We also have Sinterklaas.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you've seen the tradition. For the past 10 years, it's been one giant discussion.
Oh, really?
Okay, I didn't hear. What is it coming up?
Sinterklaas, Saint Nicholas.
Yeah.
December 6th, right?
From my people.
December 5th, yeah. So the big discussion about his helpers.
Oh,
yeah.
The little people?
No. The colored people.
Oh, okay. That's novel.
Didn't know about that.
Yeah, no, exactly.
I figured they were all Aleutians.
I'm not well educated in international mythology.
So Saint Nicholas would like Santa, pretty much, like literally, they're talking about the same guy. It's just a different way of telling the story. Saint Nicholas was a saint who would buy slave children and make them into a knecht. I don't know the how to translate it, but it was a job.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
One of those jobs was chimney sweepers.
Mm.
Mm, mm,
Okay. Mm-hmm.
okay.
The way they're portrayed, Black Peter is racist as all hell.
Oh.
Okay. Yeah, I
Like,
can say that.
Okay. Okay.
yeah,
And that was a traditional way of depicting him then.
yes,
And now that is not a modern sensibility.
no. So there is a discussion because from as long as I've been alive, like 20, 30 years before that, like it's not been about people of color. It is they're black because they have to go down chimneys.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Which is fun in games right up until you see how black slaves used to be dressed up in the 18th and earlier centuries.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, no.
Ah, yeah, we had some of the same backlash over here about they're called lawn jockeys,
Mm.
Mm,
Oh.
and it's basically little statues outside, and they can be extraordinarily racist,
yeah,
or they can be innocent, but much more rarely.
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And that's the trouble with living in the southeastern U.S. There's a lot of unfortunate baggage
Hey, Matthew.
that is connected with
mhm,
attitudes that we wish we could eradicate, but have not
yeah,
been able to successfully do
Yeah.
away with.
Yeah.
But
Mm-hmm.
it's
yeah,
you want to call it nonsense, but it it still has meaning for a lot of people.
yeah,
Well, the
yeah.
trouble gets
And
to be where people don't even realize that it's offensive to someone else,
yes,
and they don't
yes.
care.
Mm-hmm.
That
Ah,
is
Yeah.
the problem. When you say, "Yeah, that's just my lawn ornament," and you don't go any
mm,
further thinking about it, that's the problem.
Yeah.
It's like, if you had one of each, that would be okay, probably. But the fact is, people will put two of them up of the same race and then say, "No, it's fine with me." Like,
hmm
mm,
Yeah, no.
you're probably asking for trouble, buddy.
Yeah.
Um,
We have a couple of those, they get flown over from the United States, and you find them at antique shops and stuff.
mhm.
So
yeah.
I'm not too unfamiliar.
Yeah.
Yeah, they get bad. But I have to start helping out because I gotta make some lunch for myself. Then I gotta make dinner for myself as well because
Oh.
I'm gonna head over to my girlfriend straight out of work.
Mm,
And
yes.
that's gonna be a 3.5 hour train ride. Fuck my life.
Where is this girlfriend?
She's on
Hey,
the
Matt.
other side of the Netherlands, like living straight
Where
east.
is this girlfriend?
She's on
Hey,
the
Matt.
other side of the Netherlands, like living straight east. And there is a echo now.
Yeah, I heard.
Yeah.
Okay, the Midland.
Oh no. Chris has got it right. Chris has got it right. This is the true lawn ornament of the South.
There you go.
Yeah.
With a
Man.
shopping cart.
No, we don't. We don't do that. We don't do that.
Oh
No,
no,
that's
Dutch
Illinois.
equivalent then.
That's
Yeah.
up here. We have a
Yeah.
shopping cart.
Now,
No, that's the Dutch equivalent because our lawns aren't big enough for cars.
Ah, okay.
in the southeastern United States, when you see a car up on blocks in the yard, burglars know we ain't going there.
Mm.
Mhm.
Somebody got guns.
They got guns and they got nothing.
I just assume that everywhere now.
But now I'm jealous. He's taking a 3-hour train ride to see her. Guys used to bitch because they had to drive 10 minutes up to Rossfield. I used to have to come down to Danville to meet him somewhere.
Carl
Yeah,
bitches
no,
because he's
screw
got
that,
a stagger
like-
down the hallway.
She has to have the same kind of distance for me. I'm gonna do the same for her. I don't give a fuck.
I used to drive an hour each way to go see Misty
Hmm.
when we were dating.
Yeah.
If Lindsay
What's
and
this
I had
dating thing you
physically
speak of?
dated, it would be a 24-hour drive nonstop for me to get to where she lived.
Mhm.
See, when Brenda and I were dating, she
speaking
was
of
an
the
hour
dating
and
thing, we literally had one, and then she still stuck around. So that was the only date I've had in my life.
well, Brenda was an
Oh,
hour and a
my-
half away.
My
and,
sweet summer child.
Oh,
Now,
Carl was
Matthew,
only, what, 8
you've
minutes?
said that 3 times and I still haven't heard it. Okay.
No, it's all right. I was just saying, Brenda was an hour and a half away when we met, and we went out like twice. And I told her, "You just got to move in."
I can't take the commute there.
Yeah, exactly.
I've
We
done
went
that
together.
twice, and it didn't work out, and I'm not gonna give myself a third strike there.
I would drive an hour to get Misty, drive back to do stuff in the area that I lived in, drive her back out to her house, and then drive back home.
Yeah.
No, Carl, what was it, 8 minutes away?
Yeah.
And where we both worked was only like half a block apart.
Lucky.
And he
And
only
sometimes-
drove that for a month, and then he moved in, and
Yep.
then we got married the next month.
There was one girl I dated
When we
Wow.
know, we know.
who lived in Atlanta, and it was a 90-minute drive to get to her place and pick her up, and we would have our date in Atlanta, and then I would take her home and drop her off, and I would drive 90 minutes to get to my home.
Yeah.
That was not a long-term relationship,
Yeah.
and it's not her fault, and it's definitely not mine either.
We blame
Once we
Shell.
got to know each other, we realized that we
Yeah.
didn't have as
Wasn't
much
to
in
be.
common as we thought we did.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
fun times were had by all, but
Right.
it was short term.
Okay, I got hot, guys. Hopefully see
Good
you next
seeing
week.
you.
Okay, awesome. And I'll catch you
Next
later,
week
of course.
we'll all be at Hallowcon.
Have a great
Yes,
one.
we
Enjoy.
will. We don't know whether or not we will
Enjoy.
be doing shows from Hallowcon. We may not be able to figure out how to turn on a laptop and click by that time.
Possibly next year, I'll be saying the same.
Yes.
We hope so.
Looking forward to it.
Both of us.
Stay awesome, guys. Have fun next week.
Bye.
We will
Where'd
do our
Matthew go?
best.
I'm here.
Yeah, he's just
Oh.
off screen with voice only at the moment.
Yeah,
That's
for some reason it said my shit lost connection to the camera, but my
Oh.
camera's showing on. Hang on,
Well,
let's see.
we're showing you here, but there you go.
go.
Yeah. There you
I
go.
had to click it again. Hey,
Hey,
I don't know if any of y'all have caught it, but we had paid for an intro to the show a while back. Well, I paid for an outro, and if you watch at the very end, there's a little in memoriam to Meredith.
oh, that's sweet.
Yeah.
Well, we'll
It
be in Evansville, Indiana on Thursday.
Yeah.
Uh,
So
uh,
they just-
I was.
Chris
Go
has
ahead.
got the right of it here. Thursday, we might be able to do Stupid O'Clock and Last Man Standing. Saturday night, ain't no freaking way.
Yeah. That's probably our green room too. Will be
For
live
everybody's safety.
there. at
yeah.
Hallowcon.
No, Saturday night, Megan will have fed us until we are in a stupor,
I hope.
basically.
I hope so. Yeah.
I,
And then,
I,
and then
Lindsay asked me today, well, what kind of food we're going to take to the convention so we don't have to leave? And I'm going, honey, all we need is breakfast.
Mm-hmm.
Everything else is in the hotel, is in the membership
Yeah.
of the convention price. We will be fed like
Yeah.
kings.
And
Waffle House peanut butter waffles. Yes.
yeah, that hotel has breakfast. They serve breakfast. So,
Yeah, a Danish and coffee.
And John's not going to be there, so we won't have cereal.
Yep.
well, just has
We
to
loaded up. We loaded up on Jimmy Dean microwavable croissants, sausage, egg, and cheese. So we
Yeah.
will have breakfast without having to leave the hotel. Last year, I did go out to a restaurant one day for breakfast.
Well, I don't know if y'all have ever tried them, but those just cracking eggs,
Don't go there
those
either.
bitches are pretty damn good. You got to add some salt to them, but of course, because eggs need salt. But
Yeah.
it takes just a single egg, and it's got all the mixes in there. Them some bitches are pretty good. You get you a half a dozen eggs, throw it in the refrigerator at the hotel.
No,
I don't care. Waffle House peanut butter waffles.
Yeah, I got to take her to Waffle House.
At least
the
once.
lady's
yeah.
mind is set.
Oh yeah,
Chris, John Pica has said that there is a family emergency,
yeah.
so he will not be able to attend Hallowcon. Now, if we
And
can't
that's
get the dog in heat at a border, Lindsay's going to stay home, and I will be flying solo again. We are hoping that situation will be satisfactory to all parties concerned, but that's still one of the things that she is worried about.
Makes sense.
understandably, yeah.
Well, I mean, if we can't board the dog, she's going to have to stay home and take care of it. She doesn't want to deprive me of Hallowcon, and she will be beating herself up over the fact that I got a vendor's table this year so she could sell some of her old steampunk outfits that she can't wear anymore.
Well, you can still sell them for her, right?
Yeah.
Well, I could, but I don't know what. She's the only one that knows what they're worth. You know,
Oh,
some of these are deluxe. They're not just assembled from spare stuff laying around. Some of these are pricey. So she's going to have to figure that out. I can't do it. She'd have to put price tags on stuff before I left.
And then tell you what the minimum she would take for them is. Because, of course, everybody tries to get a deal, and so they always say, well, will you take this?
Call my wife. No, hopefully everything will work out, and the place where we board the dogs will be able to deal. Unfortunately, it's not our dog. It's one we are pet sitting.
Bring the dog.
Oh, yeah, like I'm going to bring a dog in heat in a car for 3 hours.
No. And try to keep it in a hotel room?
And try and keep it in a hotel room and try and clean up the blood spots from a dog in heat that hasn't been fixed.
Yeah.
And every dog in the area, the male dogs, will be outside your room.
Yeah, really. There'll be coyotes lining up at the door going, hey, 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 hey.
Let me in.
It's going to be bad enough bringing my wife. There's going to be guys lined up at the door going, hey, 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 hey.
I can't say much. Okay.
Hey. You know, Carl, when you're married to a beautiful woman,
oh yeah,
somebody going to be sniffing around when your back's turned.
All the time, yeah. What if she
This is-
sniffs back, though? That's the problem.
Yeah, but
Mm-hmm.
in the last 15 years, that has never happened. So, you know.
I don't care if she sniffs back, just as long as she doesn't take a taste.
I'm not touching that one. Okay. Not the
Not
green
till
room.
tomorrow night. No.
The green room. Okay.
Mm,
Yeah, Chris
I
says,
can't do I can't do hashtags in here without it showing up 4 times repeated. Uh,
yeah.
I wish I could get YouTube to show me my own show, but no, it won't. I can get to YouTube for Stupid O'Clock, but not Last Man Standing.
I think I have it open. Did you need a hashtag added there
Yeah,
in YouTube?
wherever.
What are you doing?
He's being a naughty boy. What he's good at.
Hey, do you see behind Donna the hat rack there with all her hats?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I saw that a while ago going.
Well, you saw me
Yeah, I
go.
saw you
Yeah,
and yell at him. Yeah, then
he
I
was
saw the hats going like this, and I'm thinking, oh gee, here we go.
he was
Yep.
trying to get on that
He
weird
thinks it's a
shape.
cat tree.
No, he was trying to get on this weird shaped bookcase that I have over here. What he didn't realize was that the box he was trying to get in was only half on that.
Oh.
It's a box that tissues come in, and it holds 11 boxes of tissues.
Mm-hmm.
So it's nice and long. It's only about that deep.
Cat, perfect for a cat. Yeah.
Except it was only half on the one, and now it's almost on the floor. Plus,
Carl,
it's got blankets on it.
hashtag ain't touching that line.
Okay.
And thank you, Chris. Yes, she is the delightful person. Um, she is the light of my life, believe me. And I have been through the ringer a few times, and this is one of the few times in my life that I actually got it right. And that's all I can say about that.
That's cool.
So,
You
sometimes
will
it takes.
you will love her when you meet her, and if you don't, it's my fault.
It's always your fault.
Of course, I am willing to take responsibility for my transgressions. It wouldn't be mistakes; it'd be transgressions, because you know.
See, I got mine trained. I'll go. I don't know how, but somehow it's your fault. And she goes, always. He takes the blame. So I finally got one that'll take the blame for me.
Whoa.
That's rare.
I don't mind taking the blame as long as I don't take responsibility.
Really.
All right.
There was a young guy in the neighborhood who was having problems, and he came over to talk to me, being the older man, thinking, I'd give him some advice. And he was having an argument with his gal, and I said, well, what's the problem? And he says, well, we had an argument, and I'm right. And I said, oh, well, there's your problem.
Uh-huh.
Right. You're not right. You apologize right now. Tell her you're wrong.
And then apologize for being right.
No, just don't. No, you're
Apologize for
right.
thinking you were right.
Yeah. And he's like, but I was right. I'm like, now you're going to be sleeping in the garage, buddy. You're not sleeping in my house.
That's immaterial.
Just give it in. Just give in. You
Yeah.
lost.
Really. That's one of the ground rules. You are always wrong if there's a disagreement.
Yeah, if I'm right, Donna will tell me, and then I'll know. And then
That'll be a red letter day.
no, it's happened.
No,
It's happened. She admits it.
no.
And usually I am right,
I'm the first to say I could be wrong.
but
You got to prove it to me, but I could be wrong.
it could happen.
my problem is Brenda's memory isn't what it used to be, and so she'll swear up and down she's right, and I know for a fact she's wrong, and so I have to feed her little tidbits until she remembers, and then she's like, "Oh yeah, you're right. I'm sorry," and I'm like, "Yeah, I knew that 20 minutes ago."
No.
Yeah, it's a dangerous road too. So,
But
Yeah, really,
you got, yeah, exactly.
that ain't a road. That's pre-Columbian sculpture. That's a tightrope across a canyon.
Yeah, you got to take that machete and you got to weave your way through there just right.
Yeah, really.
You're best to just change the subject and move on.
To just forget it entirely. Just hey, yes,
Rich is
dear.
being awfully quiet.
Hmm?
I said, Rich is being awfully
He has. I
quiet
was going to say
Rich
that.
with that little grin on his face.
No, Rich
I think
knows.
he's taking notes.
Yeah, he knows.
Well, no,
The advisability of yes, dear.
I've mastered that a long time ago.
There you go.
I watched my father and his escapades, and the best way to navigate around my mom. However, I married a woman that is usually the polar opposite of my mom. As she's very meek, she's very mild. She thinks she screwed up, and I'm just like, no, hon, you didn't screw up. They screwed up. You know, this isn't your fault. This is their fault. But no, they're the ones deciding to show their ass. You're being overly nice. You know, you're wrong in trying to make them happy when they came in with a burn in their asshole and they're refusing to let you pull it out. You know.
Yep.
All right. Let it be.
The hardest thing to get somebody else to admit is it's not your fault. You didn't do anything. Somebody else did. Don't take the blame for them.
Exactly. And now she's working customer service in an urgent care facility. So she's checking people in, she's taking co-pays and stuff like this. And people are always just complete asses to her. And I keep having to remind her, I'm like, they're hurting. You know, and you get people that come in that don't tell the real reason why they're there. And
I don't know how that hamster got there.
They perform more STD checks than anything else. And it's like, you know, you go in there for one thing and then you find out it's that, and then they have to move them to a different room because they've got to put them up in, you know, a room that's got a table that's got the stirrups so that, you know, they can check out the crotch funk and all that crap. And you know, it's just okay. I scared Dana away with crotch funk. I'm sorry.
It happens.
But so yeah.
No, I was still listening.
Yeah, and she's dealing with all these people who are just completely horrible to her. I'm like, you got to brush it off. These people are sick. They're hurt. They're wanting to, you know, get taken care of, but you know, there's a 3-hour wait because everyone wants to be taken care of 5 minutes before the clinic closes.
Yeah.
And they're not willing to accept responsibility for their own actions. That's the thing that makes it. It's your fault. It's your fault. No. I wasn't there 9 months ago. I didn't have anything to do with it. And congratulations.
Yeah.
But no.
That's something I had to deal with because as a counselor, you're seeing people at the lowest points in their life. You know, by the time you say, I need to go see a counselor about this, it's pretty bad. And, you know, there's a lot of denial. There's a lot of blaming. There's a lot of that. And, you know, you have to take a long-term view on it and say, you know, hey, we'll deal with this, but it's going to take you a while. We're not going to pick you up right away.
I think I had to see a counselor once, and it was during my first marriage, and I was brutally honest with the counselor, and she seemed to think that nothing was wrong with me. It was her fault. Not the counselor, but
Yeah.
my first wife. And I'm going, thank you. I don't know if that was just being polite and telling me what I wanted to hear, or if it was being insightful and telling me the actual facts of what I already knew.
Column A,
But
column B.
well, look, I'm so laid back. A lot of people use me for a doormat.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
And
counselors will usually tell you the truth. They don't try to sugarcoat a lot of stuff because that does not help in the future. I've learned that very early in counseling. If you tell somebody, no, it's okay, and then you go back and say, well, okay, now let's go look at this, they'll be like, well, you told me it was okay. So you don't sugarcoat it. You don't tell the person, no, there's nothing wrong with you, because that'll come back to bite you if that's not the truth.
Well,
So-
I was willing to accept the blame for anything that I did, but I just wasn't willing to accept blame for something that I had nothing to do with.
Right.
Yeah.
And
Well, and that's the thing with any relationship, man. It's got to be a 50-50 thing on everything, and that is, it includes taking the blame. You have to own up when it's your fault. I can't tell you how many friends I have that, both sides. It's either a male or a female that freaking refuses to apologize, or not refuses, but it's just not in their nature. They get proven wrong, and it's just they go about their day. It's never, oh, I'm sorry, or for outbursts and everything. It's still no, I'm sorry. I'm the first one, like Donna said earlier. If I'm wrong, I'm gonna admit it. That's one thing that got me out of a lot of bullshit in high school. If I had screwed up and got caught, I'd take my punishment and go about my day. If I was blamed for something I didn't do, I would stand up for myself, and it worked because they were like, well, look, when he's guilty, he admits it. But if he's staying up saying that he didn't do it, he didn't do it.
Right.
And
that's gotten me in trouble with authority figures several times in my life when I was not at fault and I refused to knuckle under and take the blame for something I didn't do. And this has got nothing to do with my marriages. This is work related. So, if you want to blame me for something, you better have me on camera. Otherwise, didn't do it, wasn't there.
Nobody saw me. Nobody can prove a thing.
It goes even further than that. I didn't do it.
Right.
Whoever says I did is a damn liar.
And that's
Show
who
me
you need
this
to look
person.
at. That's who you need to look at that did it, is whoever's saying I did it.
Yeah.
I've actually got somebody at work that is complaining that I take too long on break. And I'm going, you have cameras in the break room? Show me the footage.
Yeah.
Or admit that somebody has misinformed you.
And Dan, don't you, or you're in a union, correct?
Yep.
Yeah, that's what I thought. So, you know the rules. You're not going to bullshit around. And if somebody's being a little bitch like that, you're doing exactly right. Show me the tape. Go and look at it. You have proof. If y'all want to complain about it, go and look at it and either put up or shut up.
Y'all own the cameras, not me.
Exactly.
Something like that sometimes is a personal thing, because people's perception of time is different.
Yep.
Like, they'll think, well, he's been gone for half an hour. No, he's only been gone 15 minutes. But to them, it's way too long. And sometimes some people have problems with judging time like that. And they need to learn to use a clock. I mean,
Well, and the adjunct to that is that some people have not been there long enough to figure out how the place actually works.
Yeah.
And these rules are suggestions, and these rules are rules.
Right.
And they might be going, yeah, but he does it. And I'm going, you're in there for twice as long, but I'm not saying that. I'm not accusing anybody.
Right.
I will go on break. I will eat. I will wash my plate. I will pack everything up and go off a break. The people that were in there at the time I got there are still there when I left.
Right.
And I'm going, would you really be complaining about this if it were that person, which you also have on camera for an hour longer than you have me on camera for my 15 minutes? Or would you just like to continue with this? Oh Lord, it's 3 minutes to midnight. This member waving contest to prove your dominance.
Yeah, that's part of it there, right there.
Yeah, that's the thing. They've already found out that I don't play dominance games.
Right.
They lose automatically. Because I can't. It's the main reason I'm not in one of the alternative lifestyles. I don't allow myself to be dominated. Oh,
I've noticed in workplaces, especially, there's a lot of what we call projection. The person that's the most, kind of like what Matthew was saying, the person that's most likely to take a longer break will accuse everyone else of being on break too long. But they are the one that really is on break too long. But they push it out to everybody else to make themselves feel better.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, management will often listen to those people because they are the squeaky wheel.
Right.
And, like, okay, if you'll shut
But
up.
if they do it too often, the old adage, the squeaky wheel gets the grease, but if it keeps squeaking for too long, too many times, it gets replaced.
Yeah, the squeaky wheel gets the attention.
Yeah.
In the end run. I've been there for 45 years. The only people that would complain about me are the ones that have only been there for 6 months. Who has earned the company more money?
Yeah.
Right.
This was the wax from 2 Baby Bell little cheese wheels.
Oh, okay. I thought it was like something you were going to eat just now.
I thought it was a gummy something.
No, it's
now a sculpture.
Yeah, exactly. A weird little lizard hatching from an egg thing.
Oh, okay.
I would probably tried to melt those down to make candles out of them, actually. But it would take a lot of Baby Bells.
I literally just ate the Baby Bells as the show was beginning, so I haven't had a chance to melt these down yet. Because I was actually thinking that, I'm like, these might actually make a halfway decent candle. We got a whole bunch of them, so...
Yeah, that's the thing, though.
Misty loves these.
You've got to worry about whether or not that particular wax that they use would have an offensive smell, or would it just give off light?
Right.
But you could always add essential oils to counteract anything like that, too.
Indeed.
and we have a crap ton of it because Misty has one of those little diffusers. We have to find the diffuser. We know where most of the oils are. We need to find the diffuser because we've moved twice.
The other thing you got to worry about too is what
we've
chemicals
had to buy more diffusers because we have cats, and things have gotten knocked over when we were not home.
Oops.
And Lindsay is prone to throwing stuff away when it has made a mess. So we've got oils out the wazoo, but the little diffusers to put in the thing are becoming very difficult to find in this area. We have to go to some of the more obscure craft shops now to find those. And the really obscure craft shops, the ones that would be most likely to carry that, have been taken over by
Come in.
corporations. So they have what they deem essential, and we're wanting stuff that they don't sell that much of, so they don't stock that much of, if any. My mom used to have an art supply store. My mom and my sister ran it together. It was wonderful. It had everything you could need, all in one little bitty storefront. Landlord decided, I'm not making enough money off of y'all. Kicked them out.
Yeah.
Mom still has some of the store stock, mostly fabric paint and whatnot, in the basement of the family home. That storefront stood empty for 7 years without being rented again.
Yeah.
If the idiot who owned the storefront would have just listened to reason,
he'd still
could have been making rent the entire time, but no. And now it is it's a Little Caesar's pizza.
Oh, that sounds good. No.
Well, used to be able to buy paint and canvas and paint brushes and whatnot in there, and for a long time it was locked up, and now you buy the Little Caesar's pizza.
And how much revenue did he lose over that 7 years? And then did property values, I'm sure property values went up some during that 7 year period, but probably nowhere near enough to recoup his losses over, even the next 14 years, just because he had to pay utilities and everything over that whole time and property taxes. And so he's in the hole unless he sold it, of course, but
It was a she, not a he. And I'm kind of wondering whether or not she was kind of jealous that mom was able to have a little storefront and make a profit. And then then the landlady decided, oh, I can do better. And then didn't.
No, you can't.
No, you gotta wait almost a decade before you can make another dollar off of this because you were greedy.
Does that sound like a short story you might have read recently, Donna?
Maybe.
Everything is grist for the writer's mill.
For sure.
One of the shorts I wrote
every
years
experience
ago
we've ever had.
dealt with a candle maker, and then the silversmith's wife was always trying to get her run out because this candle maker's candles were so much better than the silversmith's wife's. So
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't get to read that one, I guess.
that one is called The Chandler.
Okay.
That was story number 2 in that long list of stories in the writing group.
Oh, I missed it. Okay.
Well,
That's the one where Donna has the Will Smith.
Oh, okay.
oh,
Yeah.
Donna, if
What?
if you ever get a chance to read Fly By Wire and you're fond of the Will Smith character from Men in Black, there's one short chapter where someone just like him shows up.
Okay.
And I go Stephanie's MIB series just a little hair more intense in that. But it's not that I'm a better writer than Stephanie is, because damn I am not. She's a far better writer than me. But it's one of those things where I go,
She made me cry.
oh,
Ooh,
just
Stephanie.
once?
Oh.
Just once? You haven't read all the books yet.
No. I've only completed Alpha and Omega. I'm expecting a thrill, fun ride. She made me cry. That
Yeah.
That talented writer, her.
got me. I don't know if you saw me semi-bitching last night in the Stupid O'Clock a chat. But it's like, damn it, you made me feel. This is supposed to be a fun thrill ride action comedy thing, and I'm sitting here, I'm like, no, she can't. Son of a mother.
Yeah.
You
that's right.
are in for.
I've
Okay.
just started the book that made me buy the series, or buy the first 3 books in this series, Small, Medium, at Large. So she had me at the title, and then as soon as she said Houdini, I'm like, shut up, take my money. Houdini's one of my heroes.
At least once in every book in that series, you are going to cry. Every book. And there are, what, 30 books in the series so far?
Something like that.
In Division 1, I thought there was 14 in Division 1.
Oh, well, there could be. When it comes to Stephanie, I keep blending everything together. Not only the Sherlock Holmes, but the Division 1 and the other Sherlock Holmes.
I can't wait to grab them all. In fact, actually, what I'm probably going to end up doing is part of the settlement from Pop's passing. I'm probably going to invest in all of Stephanie's books. And actually, I will probably end up investing in many of my author friends' books, because I'll be able to afford to purchase them all.
Now, I would recommend that, since you love Stephanie's books now, that you have experienced a few. When you are,
I can't wait to the Fox series.
When you are at a convention with her, buy the paperbacks and let her autograph them, because basically ebooks can't be autographed except through some enormously complicated process not even I can understand. And well, not that I'm a freaking Wile E. Coyote super genius, but still. It is
Barring some
enormously complicated.
supreme cluster, I will definitely be there next year, Chris.
If you want to make her smile, call her evil.
I
Because
pretty
I've
much
been,
did in what I said right there,
Mhm.
during the thing, because she's
I
like, "What did I
remember
do?"
I remember it well, and she was overjoyed. It's
Um,
Donna.
yeah,
it's the same thing as when you finished that one story and said, "You son of a
son of a
bitch."
bitch. Yeah.
Yes, I knew you got it. That was the thing. And oh, that was the highest praise I've ever gotten from a reader so far. It's just, and I do remember what story that was. That was my reply to other people in the shared universe putting me in the shared universe stories as a character and not getting me right. That one was where I got me right.
Yeah.
Ego and all. Um, especially ego and all. Good Lord. Ah, and I could smell the salt in the air. Hmm.
Okay.
You just have to read them. I mean,
Yeah.
she has. Carl might have.
I read the Abducted.
Hmm. Okay, this
I
this
haven't
would have been one of the Spaceport Bar stories.
I haven't got into there yet, but
Um,
who knows what might happen next week.
they're variable. I didn't catch my stride until the third one on that, but that was some of the earliest stuff I ever wrote.
Okay.
which when are
So
those going to be released?
you can buy stuff that costs more than what it costs from the original publisher on Amazon right now. Um, William has promised me that it will be re-released with the typos corrected and all new typos inserted because I had to edit it myself. Um, but there is going to be a second edition. He wants me to write an entire second collection,
Mm.
and I have say 3 completed stories and 5 others begun
Hey, Gary.
in that series. He also has the prequel to the Tom Darby story,
Mm-hmm.
which
Yeah,
shows
I heard you talking
how
about
he
that
how
one.
he went from Kentucky farm boy to
Being on that road that night.
being on that road that night. Yep. And
Mm-hmm.
oh God, I'm so proud of that. I am so proud of that. I went through the whole thing. Here's this guy lied about his age to get into the army during the Korean War. Got somehow or another found out and was discovered for having a talent for flying airplanes. Wound up being drafted by the CIA to fly photo recon. Wound up doing spy missions on the ground where he didn't want to be because he wanted to be flying. To having this promising relationship that got kind of rocky there. Had an argument with his girlfriend, hopped on his Harley, went out on that road that night, and wound up the ending sentence of the prequel is the first sentence of the Tom Darby book that everybody knows. Must have gotten the old Harley up to 70 when I hit the flying saucer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What you want?
I was so proud. It it wrapped around so well, and I'm going, I couldn't have planned this better. It doesn't matter that I wrote the original story 25 years before I wrote this one,
Right.
and
Yeah, that's beautiful.
there's so
Yep.
much more planned for that guy.
Yeah.
Um, he's he's got to die a second time.
Uh-oh.
That's you see that happen in Fly by Wire, which is also at the publisher awaiting publication. I fought hard to get the rights to publish that one because it was in somebody else's shared universe.
Um,
And they were going to put it out as a series, um, and then they never did. Never did. And it's been 15 years or so.
Hmm.
That that appearance of Tom Darby is where I realized that character was not through with me. Okay, here he is in Fly-by-Wire. He's age 87.
hmm. Okay.
So there's stuff that comes in between Abducted and Fly-by-Wire that gets him from being early 30s
Right.
to geriatric.
Hmm.
And then there's stuff that comes after that where he's been resurrected twice
Hmm.
and still going on. Look out for something called Digging in the Dirt. That's going to be fun. That's archaeology right there.
Hmm.
Um, and then it just keeps going. He actually shows up resurrected as a voiceover in the Spaceport Bar series that Donna has read cover to cover in Come the Dawn.
Okay. Yeah.
And basically, he just says, hey, we're not part of this continuity, but we're here to protect the innocent folks.
That's cool.
He's just a voice on the radio, basically.
Well,
Uh,
guys, I'm gonna head out. It is coming on 11:30 here, and work comes early. It's Friday though. I'll see y'all tomorrow night in the green room.
Thank you
Okay.
for being here, Matthew. We
Oh, you
really
bet.
appreciate it.
Oh, you bet. Glad I could support. Good night.
Have a great
Oh.
one, man.
No.
I might have to head too. I am just losing the battle to sleep here.
Don't worry. Don't worry. As I told Lindsay, everything will be all right.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, Carl.
Hi,
Good
Carl.
night, Carl.
And I'm sure
And
Rich
then
and
there
I
were
can
three.
keep Don. I think Rich and I can keep Donna interested and aware for a little while longer. Promises, promises, right, girl?
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Good thing you're a man of your word.
Yeah. Unfortunately, my word was given a long time ago, so.
Yeah, I know. I've been respectful of that.
And I thank you. I really do.
It's hard
Except
sometimes.
Except the wish for the deed. Please do. What are you doing, Rich? Oh, okay. I thought that was an editorial comment.
No. I can't not fidget. So that's why sometimes you'll see me looking down as I'm working on chainmail or whatever. So today I've got soft wax from the baby bells. So I'm mucking about and doing some goofy ass sculpting and
It's okay.
Next week is going to be so much fun.
Mm-hmm.
And hopefully all the possible problems will come to naught and everything will go as planned, and you will get to see how delightful the light of my life actually is.
Looking
And-
forward to
oh
it.
wait, I'm not going to be down there till next year. Okay, wait, you mean Lindsay?
Smart ass.
You, I'm sorry, Rich. You're not the light of my life. You're my alter ego.
Oh, isn't that scary?
The young buck I wish I was if I were larger and more imposing. Yeah. Laugh while you can, monkey boy. It's not my damn planet. Oh, heavens. Oh, Lord. If I get started doing movie quotes, there's no way to stop me except kick me off the channel, and it's my channel, so. Quake with fear, you tiny fools.
That was the name of our Rocky troop.
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt it. I only steal from the best.
But yeah, our Rocky troop was the Tiny Fools.
Chris, that's a promise I will hold you to. No. If you have never experienced the wonder that is Chris Walker, I mean, I swear, this guy, I could
Yes.
sing his praises, but you would not believe me. You would think I was just making shit up. He
The
is
man's an encyclopedia.
well, and he's also so infuriatingly nice.
I was going to say down to earth and charming.
Uh-huh. But
Yes, he is.
not only would I trust him with my life, I trust him with my wife. And I mean that most sincerely. I have never met a man with that much integrity. I did not think they were possible. And then I met Chris. John is not to be sneezed at either, let me tell you. Joe Dog, I wouldn't trust with a burnout match.
I was just thinking that.
I swear, no. If there's anybody you got to keep an eye on, it's Joe Dog, and it's not because he's a philanderer. It's because he loves stirring things up.
He's an instigator.
Yeah, his biggest decision when he wakes up in the morning is whether to stir the pot left-handed or right-handed, basically. Yep. And Kiri met them for the first time at Hallowcon last year. Absolute jewel, just wonderful. Just hey, if it weren't for having to wear masks at the time, just probably wouldn't have have not recognized him as slowly as I did. But hey, it took me a minute. It took me a minute. Even when he said his name, I had to go, "Oh yeah, okay. This is wonderful." And it was wonderful. No,
Mm-hmm.
it was a real pleasure to put a physical face to the voice or to the text, as it were. Oh, don't don't let him and Joe plot together. Ooh, uh, now Godzilla is afraid. Uh, and Gamera is taking notes.
My
Yeah.
boy Gamera, represent.
Yeah. Hey, I grew up on lots of different kaiju, but Gamera was probably the one that I enjoyed, even though the the English dub cuts were
Horrible, but
very, but I don't speak Japanese, and I'm not likely to learn how to speak Japanese, so that's the best I can get. But oh, um, coincidental fact: Godzilla and I share a birthday, November 3rd. Godzilla is, I think, 2 years older, maybe
Wow.
3. Um, I'm not sure. Was that 55 or 56? The original,
No idea.
not the English dub. Happy Google.
see me looking up in the corner and you know exactly what I'm doing.
I know exactly what you're doing because that's what I would be doing.
Uh,
And actually, the English dub might have come out the same year and same day that I was born.
the original release date of Godzilla was April 27th, 1956.
Okay. So it should be the English dub then.
Godzilla not rated 1954.
Hmm.
So I'm guessing that would probably be the English dub, as
No, no.
Godzilla was theatrically released in Japan on November 3rd, 1954.
So he's got 3 years on me.
So your birthday will probably be ingrained in my brain now, as it is 3 days before Misty's.
And actually, um, the way I remember it, it's the same day at almost the same minute that the Russians launched Sputnik 2. And yes, I always cry about the little dog like Laika.
Mm.
Lindsay has learned to expect that. I always get emotional about her. And there was a major plot point about that in a writer's, a late writer whose work I dearly enjoyed, who declared his independence from an oppressive government by declaring his little spaceship, instead of being X number, to being called Laika, because both were abandoned to their fate by oppressive governments.
And here's the thing: I just looked up Sputnik 2, and it says it was a suicide mission for the poor dog. No, it wasn't a suicide mission. It was a murder mission. It's not like the dog went, I'm going to go to space.
Yeah.
And she was a stray dog, actually. Just was too friendly for her own damn good.
Mm-hmm.
But let's not let's
Dwell.
respect the memory without going through the
As ELO would say, don't bring me down.
well, that'll do. That'll do quite well.
Yeah.
The only thing better I could think is, I'm going to get you, sucker. Which is actually a police alert for escaped convicts or paroled convicts. Is notify the police officers that had anything to do with their arrest with they're out. Oh.
You okay, Dan?
Yeah, I was just looking at what Chris said, and I'm going, Mel Allen, watch, not Chris Allen, Dave Allen, the Irish comedian.
Dave Allen at large.
Yes, indeed. I used to love that show when it was on PBS. I know it was repeats, but Dave Allen is one of those folks that can tell a damn story really well.
It was Benny Hill, Monty Python, Dave Allen at large, and then Doctor Who on Sunday nights for our local PBS station.
For us, it was Doctor Who, The Prisoner, Red Dwarf, Dave Allen, and Paul Hogan.
I wasn't exposed to Red Dwarf until I got into college.
Lucky dude. You had the experience necessary.
Red Dwarf is on Crackle now. So it's completely free. Actually, there's a lot of really good British TV on Crackle.
There's I don't have the latest 2 reunion episodes of Red Dwarf, but I've got everything else on the 10 terabyte hard drive. It's an experience. You've got to, if you enjoy British humor.
I get the feeling I need to buy a drive, ship it down to you with a shipping label for prepaid shipping to send it back to me once it's filled.
Just show up at Hallowcon. That year, I will bring the full Mojumbo, and there's about 3 terabytes of Doctor Who, and lots of other stuff. including things that would um, make Bill have to go change his pants. But um, let's just say I put everything. That's my ultimate backup right there. I've got lots and lots of other backups, but that's the one that has everything. Um, and there was a word I skipped in between there, but it's neither here nor there. Technically, it's neither here nor there, but there was another word. Um, it has a few of Lindsay's favorite uh, British shows, Tinko, for one. Um, has several seasons of what's the British doctor that can't stand the sight of blood? I can't remember the name of that. Um, it's
I
not a
think I've seen
comedy,
that
but
one.
it has comedic moments. Yeah, there, there's there's damn near Joe's house. Yeah, well, it's damn near to Joe's house anyway.
Doc Martin.
Doc Martin, yes, indeed, that's the one.
My Google
Um,
Foo is strong.
yes, and
But then
Louise
again, that's what I
Jameson.
used to have to use to do my job. So
Louise Jameson is also a guest star in that series. And let's see. Uh, oh,
you know what?
What?
every Godzilla movie that I've got a copy of. Some of them are only Japanese. I'm sorry, but most of them are English dubs. Despite the fact that the plot gets bent and twisted a little bit along the way to dub it into English. Um, 4 Godzilla movies. Um, who is Sherlock Holmes closest to besides Watson?
Say probably his brother.
Both brothers. Mycroft, not a very user friendly guy. Um, well, Kiri,
I would have thought Adele, but
you haven't read Stephanie's Sherlock Holmes series yet. You would find out lots of things. Um, Sky Chadwick, for one. And yes, Donna, you have heard the music. Um, that's the one of all the things that I have written. The album that went with Stephanie's first 4 Sherlock Holmes books, I am the proudest of because it is almost literally perfect from beginning to end. There's one piece on there, the first thing that I wrote and emailed it to her, and it made her dad cry. And he did not like classical music, and this was emotional enough to where he felt it. And she emailed me back and said, "Can you write more?" And I go, "Well, yeah." "Can you do a whole album?" "Yeah, might take me 2 or 3 days." And it took me about a week. But that's probably some of the best, most coherent work that I've ever done. But Displaced Detective is one of those things that I will always be proud of that. I've worked really hard on that. Hell, I could probably pull up my my Bandcamp and play a cut from it, but then StreamYard would probably get a notification because it's somebody else's. No, it's mine. Still,
Yeah.
these things, they happen. If you want to hear it, it's available. You can listen to it for free on my Bandcamp page. It's just
I think that's one of the ones I
bandcamp.dan.
purchased.
I do believe it is. I do believe it is.
Because I think you played a little bit of it in something. Because
Probably posted it on my Facebook.
there was a young lady that was learning to play it on the violin live. Because you were talking to Stephanie about it, and she had joined, whether it was a Last Man Standing or a green room or something.
Mm-hmm.
That would be Thessaly.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I remember that one.
And Thessaly plays violin. And I have tutored Thessaly in a few odd concepts having to do with her artwork. And I have critiqued some of her written stuff, and we became fast friends. We met in person. She showed me a handwritten bit from a story she was writing, and I stood up and improvised a character she had created. And while I was doing that, she was writing stuff down right then, live and in person. And it was, well, it may have been a Saturday night, but it wasn't Saturday Night Live. She was quite happy. And I introduced nuances to the character that I was portraying that she had not thought about before. So, Stephanie's music, Stephanie's writing, Thessaly's music on violin, Thessaly's writing in more than one story, and Thessaly's artwork are. I'm so very glad that I was here to just offer advice and point her in the right direction for what to look for on her own. Now her music, I can't take any credit for whatsoever. She's wanted to learn the one track from Displaced Detective for quite a while, and because there's no sheet music, it's much harder. She'd have to learn to play it by ear. As to her stories and her artwork, she's turning into one hell of a story writer. Her artwork, only thing I clued her into was the existence of 2-point perspective. She had a drawing of a building, a rather large, or a city actually, with a wall around it. I'm going, hey, that's 2-point perspective right there. You see the way it angles back from here to here on both sides? And she goes, yeah, well, usually 1-point perspective, everything goes to one point, like railroad tracks going to the horizon. 2-point perspective is where you're closer and you see sidewalls going back to, as it would seem, two different points on the horizon. And this is how you keep track of the way the buildings are actually shaped from this particular point of view.
Mm-hmm.
She had
Almost
never,
like you're looking at the corner.
yeah, she had never heard of 2-point perspective before. And it was something that I learned in drafting classes and some of my art classes in college. And you can get a grasp of that just from experience, just from your own life, without knowing exactly what it's called. And I believe that's what I did was uh, show her this is what it's called in school, but you've already done it.
Mm-hmm.
This is the way it works. So now you know how to explain it to somebody that's going, hey, but it doesn't converge on one. Well, it doesn't have to converge on one point on the horizon. Um, it's a drafting technique actually for doing buildings and rooms and whatnot. Um,
It's also a comic book technique.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, it is. Yes, it is. And I'm less familiar with the comic book technique than drafting. So
But I mean, a lot of drafting techniques come into comics because of the way that they've got to build things and stuff like that.
mhm.
So, I mean, there's a lot of um, intertwining between the two.
Mhm. Oh, now I can't say that I taught her anything. I just showed her something that I knew that she
Mm-hmm.
was already capable of doing. She just didn't know what it was. What it was
You connected
called.
the dots between what she was doing and the
The
technical
technical
concept.
terms, yes. And then I found a photograph online that perfectly illustrated the kind of city wall to 2-point perspective around a square city that she was trying to do in her drawing. And she goes, it's real? And I go, in photographs, yes, it's real. In drafting, yes, it's real. In comic books,
Mm-hmm.
which I never thought of before, yes, it's real. Um, and she nailed it without me having to say a word. I just told her what it was she was doing.
Well, that's like with Michaela's first book. Her editor told her she had too many, was it voices? Too many things going on, and I'm like, well, that's because you're writing from an omniscience point of view, and
Hmm.
she had never heard a point of view before.
Yeah.
So I
Yep.
said, yeah, that's what you do. What I do is write from third person point of view
Hmm.
most of the
And
time.
and I write from first person a lot of the time
Mm-hmm.
because I find it very hard to write from omniscient narrator point of view. Even though it's in my head, I know what it is, but it seems to connect better with the readers if I'm writing I did, I saw, I
Mm-hmm.
went as the first person narrator.
Mm-hmm.
There are a lot of people that have problems with that. They will not read something written in first person.
Mm-hmm.
But
The Hunger
for
Games, oh dear God, drove me nuts reading the frickin' books. Um, First person past, I can handle. First person present, uh, it it was a great story. It's just that kept jarring me out of it. You know,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, usually I write like I say, third person. You're not hearing their thoughts. You're going. Ted. Ted was angry. Ted looked angry. That's how I usually do. This
Mm.
book that's coming out next month is omniscious because I put in more what they're thinking and such. It just all whatever, however it flows for me, what the story's going to be like.
I've got one. Okay. True confession time. First novel I ever attempted to write has 5 narrators.
Hmm. And that's what the editor told Michaela she was doing wrong, and I'm like, it's
Mm.
not wrong.
It's just difficult. But basically, these 5 different narrators were telling 5 different stories that towards the end of the book, everything meets up at one point.
Hmm.
And you have this huge scene with all 5 narrators meeting up, basically, and experiencing the same thing in 5 different ways because they are 5 different individuals, and then splitting apart again towards their individual endings. Uh, Fly By Wire was written with 3 different narrators, had 3 different beginnings, had 3 different endings, but my editor made me drop at least one. I think they allowed me 2, but the other one, I didn't do it quite as well as I had hoped, and it detracted from the rest of the story. So,
Hmm.
wisely, the editors told me, look, this works, that one doesn't. We're going to leave that one out. But basically, it was 3 different people telling 3 different stories at the same time, three different points of view of the same events from 3 different locations.
Hmm.
And then at the end, I was trying to wind it up in one nice little 3-sided bow, and bow tie knots really work best with 2 sides. So they were right. Um, if I had been more experienced, I might have been able to pull it off, but I wasn't. And that's at the publisher now. Get on to William because it's not out yet. Um, yes, it's called Fly By Wire. I worked for almost 20 years to get the rights to publish that. And the fellow that had the rights to the shared universe that I was writing within said, I'm never going to do anything with it. Go for it. So I did. And it's got to be reformatted to stand alone. Otherwise, it depends an awful lot on the other writers in the series. I mean, it is a shared universe. It's
Hmm.
mine is just a framing story, but theirs is where I got a lot of the details that I added to the characters,
Hmm.
and there was a point where I was told by the other writers in the series that there's one character that I don't write the same way they do, which was not necessarily a bad thing. It's just I had a different vision. It wasn't mutually exclusive of the way they wrote that character. It was just different.
Hmm. Um, I don't know if you've ever watched the TV show Leverage, but my one of my favorite episodes were when the four all said, "I stole this dagger," and the Fed guys were, "Tell me how you did it." So they started out with the grifter, what she'd done, and then it's like, okay, then you ended up with it, and she's like, "Well, no." Hitter comes in with, "That's because I stole it," and he tells the story, which is basically the same story she told, only she's in it now
Mm-hmm.
instead of a different actress. Turns out, no, he didn't really end up with it. Hacker comes in and says, "Well, that's because I got it." Tells his story, same as the others too, except now the hitter and the grifter are there instead of different actors. Same with the thief. Four different stories shows how they all four were there, and then the mastermind comes in and says, "Oh, let me tell you how it really happened then." And it's just the way that they meshed it together and replaced the actors that were in the first story with each actor as they came in and how they interacted. Then they figured out, oh, yeah, we were all four there. You were the one that did this, and you were the one that did this, and how they all crossed paths. It was just a really well written episode, and I'm like, ah, I wouldn't mind trying that, but I don't know if I could pull it
Mm-hmm.
off like they did, you know?
Yeah, the complicated one I was telling you about, it started off with a line from poetry. I, a fivefold vision, see. And I go, I can do that. At the time I attempted it, no, I couldn't. But I'm getting to that point.
Mm-hmm.
I'm getting to that point. I'm not quite there yet, but I believe that one day I will be able to do that and do it justice all the way through. But basically, five narrators, same story, different locations, how they come together at one point, everything happens at once, then they go their separate ways. Then the story ends after they go their separate ways. And I, I, I can still see it. I can still see every step along the way. It's just at the time I lacked experience of how to do that.
Mm-hmm.
But now I'm getting there.
Mm-hmm.
Slowly but surely, I'm getting there.
And Michaela's story kind of does that. She'll tell the one scene from maybe Hawk's point of view, and then from one of the other characters'
Hmm.
point of view. And I think that's what her editor had a problem with, but she did it okay. She did it very well.
Yeah, yeah,
And
she
she's
did
getting better
indeed.
at it.
Um, I learned a lot. Fred Saberhagen usually wrote books with two narrators crossing paths eventually,
Mm-hmm.
but alternate chapters were this narrator does this narrator does that. Eventually, they meet up, things happen, they split up again. That was, you know, Fred's not the only one that did that, but he was one of the best. Um, Still miss him. Never got to meet him. Still miss him though. Um, that was he seemed to do that um, two-sided narrative. very, very well. And there were a lot of people that have tried and not been able to pull it off as well, but there are other people that it comes just as naturally to as it did to him. Um, I try and learn a lot from the people whose books are on my shelves that I read over and over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
And it's down to uh, Fred Saberhagen, L. Neil Smith, uh, James White, Brian Daly, with dashes of other writers in between. And one day I'll be able to blend that together into my own distinct voice. Not that I don't have a distinct voice now, but I'm talking serious literature rather than fun adventure stuff, which is what I'm most comfortable writing. Um, I write adventure stories. I can't. It doesn't matter whether the setting is science fiction or fantasy. It's at its core,
Mm-hmm.
it's adventures.
Right.
So you got these people. One of them is telling you what the rest of them are doing. Two of them might be telling you what the rest of them are doing. They might be way separated in location, but eventually they're going to cross paths. And you see how the one narrator blends their story into what the other narrator has been telling you at the same time. This is I work that way instinctually. It's not by training, it's not by education.
Mm-hmm.
It's just the best things that I enjoy the most that I've read work that way. And it takes a long time for it to pay off sometimes. It might take in James White's universe, it might take 10 books before you get to that crossover point. Um, in Fred Saberhagen's, it's right there, right then, first book you pick up. Um, well, for some of his series. Um, in other writers, Brian Daly is one of the best about putting together a D&D team, basically. The party comes together slowly, goes off, does what they have to do, comes back together again for a reunion later. Um,
Hi, Bailey.
L. Neil Smith writes some of the best damn aliens I have ever read. I mean, you get the feel for how different they are.
Mm-hmm.
They're still people, but they've got their own cultural viewpoints. And they've got their own individual weird shapes, too. Um, which is one of the ways between the viewpoint and the shape is how you differentiate between the aliens and the humans. But there's always this one reader identifiable character that you follow along through the story,
Mm-hmm.
and you get to know the other characters, whether they are human or alien, through the viewpoint of that one uh, lead character. I cannot say enough about how well he wrote, and I miss him greatly. Um,
Well, I think you and Stephanie have done pretty well with your aliens.
Stephanie and I were supposed to write one together. I had her outline. I did a lot of storytelling, created a few characters, had things going the way I wanted, but it was in a shared universe that neither one of us owned, and it was not a shared universe I was totally invested in, so I was not writing it true to itself.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, Stephanie writes much faster than I do.
Yes,
It
she does.
it took me 2 years to turn out something that she would put together in a month.
Like 14 books in this one series alone in 6 years.
While she was writing other stuff at the same time.
Exactly. Well, I
Yeah.
mean, not just that, but just 14 in one series in 6 years. That's
hmm
fucking phenomenal.
I I truly believe that if she were focused on one series, she could turn out a book every 3 to 6 weeks. Just one series. Fortunately for the world, Stephanie has so many different stories she can tell in so many different universes. We're going to be just flabbergasted by the range that she has.
Well, co-writing with another author can be difficult. Woodstock Dreams, there were three of us writing on that.
Well, basically, you take the number of authors you have, and then each of you has to write 2/3 of the
Mm-hmm.
story, and then it has to be edited together.
Mm-hmm. Well, basically, we each took a character and wrote for the character, then we had to fill in
hmm
between.
Um, I still have what I wrote in that particular story, and it will probably never see the light of day. But there are bits and pieces in there that's probably some of the best writing I've ever done
Mm.
at that time. Because I'm better now than I was then, but I'm still nowhere up near Stephanie's standard. The woman can tell a coherent story in, well, she can tell more in 3 pages than I can tell in 50. You know,
Mm.
she's that good. She's that good. It's like if you were redoing Woodstock Dreams with somebody else and took 3 days to write the entire book, between the two of you. Yeah, that's Stephanie working by herself.
Yeah.
Um, now, when I did fly-by-wire, there were 8 or 10 of us working on the series at the same time, and I had all of them reading over my shoulder. I was writing basically not a bookend, a framing story. That's what it's called, a framing story. But I had access to information they didn't have access to, and they had access to information I didn't have. So
Mm-hmm.
their stories are distinct from my arc, basically. So mine was what was happening in the background while theirs were going on in the foreground. I can't wait till y'all get a chance to read that. I'm going to look real good if y'all get a chance to read that. Seriously. That's a Lindsay had a printout copy of that when she was on the bus from New Mexico out to here.
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't even halfway through the first day she forgot that I wrote it. She was that much into the story. I have never had that kind of praise before. Separate me from the work and just keep turning pages. Yeah, that's quite the compliment right there. That is. I know I keep talking about myself too much.
No. No. We had the idea for Woodstock Dreams because it was coming up for the Woodstock reunion.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, well, let's do a book about it. Had an agent that told us that was a waste of time. Nobody would be interested in the book. And we had already had it finished by that time. And it's like, well, I guess this is never going to see the light of day. Reunion comes and goes. Oh, wait a minute. There were 2 fiction books around the reunion. There was a nonfiction book, and I think there was a documentary. Yeah, nobody would be interested. And that's about the time I really lost my faith in agents and big presses.
Mm-hmm. I actually worked with a guy who was there for the original Woodstock. He had some fascinating stories. Most of them revolved around blocked toilets
Mm-hmm.
and mud and rain.
Mm-hmm.
And he wasn't so concerned with all the drugs that were around. And he was really disappointed that, unless you were really close to the stage, you couldn't really hear the band. You were just out in the middle of this great huge party.
Mm-hmm.
And just an old country boy had a fair middling talent for storytelling. I mean, I listened to every word he had to say, but the feel that I got for it was should have been a whole lot more fun than he had. You know? But he still had a great deal of fun. So that means it should have been phenomenal but it wasn't quite the phenomenon. It was,
Made out to be.
well, it's more like when you get that many people in one place at one time with limited resources, stuff is going to go wrong.
Well,
Especially given the amount of preparation that they were committed to when they thought it was just going to be some little thing.
yeah, that's just it. They did not e- expect that many people.
It blew up in their faces, basically.
Yeah, that was part of the research that I had done on the original, so we could get it right in the book. What was it called? Enterprising Young Men or something like that, about the two young men who got it together
Mm.
and how they got it together and everything. And yeah, it just blew their minds. It was like 10 times as many people as they had planned on.
Yeah, especially when the number of people that showed up got so overwhelming that they go, well, we can't take tickets anymore. It's free. Come on in.
Mm-hmm.
That was one of those things where it was inevitable, unforeseen, but inevitable. And somewhere in between the two happened the cultural phenomenon, which is a totally third different thing. Very, very important to music as we know it now, especially if you are interested in the history of popular music from quite a long time ago to the present day. That was one of those pivotal moments where nobody knew things were changing
Mm-hmm.
and you walked away from it and you didn't know that things had changed. But when you got home, things were definitely different.
Mm-hmm. Well, you
It's a,
never know. You never know that you're a part of history until you read about it later.
yeah, really. Um,
So you see the mugshots.
there were a lot of those involved too. Um,
Mm-hmm.
well, probably fewer than there would be in Daytona during spring break, but I imagine there's many more mugshots during Daytona during spring break. Uh, yeah, people just went, this is something special. Wish I could hear what the band was playing. Hey, Marge, let's see if we can find a bathroom that isn't a porta potty that isn't flooded. Um, and it's been the memory has been enhanced and glossed over a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
No one
Absence
ever,
makes the heart grow fonder.
yeah,
Yeah.
no one seems to have um, wanted to remember the really where it failed versus where it succeeded,
Mm-hmm.
um, and where things were not up to par versus where everything went perfectly. It's a golden moment in history that if you were actually there,
You probably don't remember.
well, what you remember is probably not quite as golden. Um, yeah,
Well,
Not
depends how high you were.
not everybody was taking the brown acid. I mean, seriously.
Depends on how high you were and how late you were.
There was blue acid and there was green acid, and Wavy Gravy went around the crowd making sure everybody remembered that blue was bad and green was good. So take the green acid.
Yep. Owsley didn't make the blue. And if you don't know how Owsley was, electric Kool-Aid acid test. That's all I can say. Tom Wolfe has a lot to answer for.
But yeah, that was kind of the point of our book. It's, well, wish you could hear the music, but it's really cool here around the campfire, passing the toke, getting in the van with the old lady. So all three of our characters had fond memories, and that's why they went back to try and work with a reunion. Except we added gangsters to our story.
Well, that's better than a carnivorous unicorn, which somebody edited their story. Oh yeah, I remember that show now. Not sure unicorns were meant to be carnivorous, but if that's the way the script writers, if that's the way the script doctors demanded it, yeah, well,
well, they're carnivorous in World of Warcraft, but okay.
Well, don't have
Charles
any experience with
Frost
that.
and the Laundry Files, they are carnivorous as well. They're actually a snail that will attach to things' heads. But it's H.P. Lovecraft meets IT. Accidental summoning through computational mathematics. And a government agency meant to cover all that shit up.
Of course.
What was the Heinlein story? Puppet Masters. If that doesn't scare the nads off of you, I don't know what will. Definitely.
Scare something else off me.
Well, they're still covered with the same term.
All right, my friends.
It's
I'm
almost
losing that
2:30.
battle.
Which means it's 3:30 your time.
No, it's almost 12:30, which means it's almost 1:30.
I'm looking at the 2.5 hours that we've been.
That's how much time, yeah.
Yep, it's 1:30 my time. We've been going for 2 hours and 22 minutes. I should have called a halt to this half an hour ago, but
I've got a I got a trainers meeting tomorrow. I've got an IT meeting tomorrow, and then we've got to meet with Dad's bank tomorrow. And I still got to try to make it back home for the green room.
We'll be there.
So, aware and alert is two different things, but
I need to be present for two of them and aware enough to be able to drive and sign and drive back on the other. And I should be able to have enough time to grab a quick nap before green room.
Well, I want to thank you both for being here. I want to thank Chris and Kiri and everybody else that was in the studio audience. I'm very sorry that this is not going to happen Saturday night because I will be at work.
We'll miss you.
Hey.
It'll happen in our hearts.
We understand.
Donna, the next time you and I get together, it's going to be at LibertyCon. No, it's going to be at Hallowcon. LibertyCon, that's a whole different animal there.
I was going to say, I'm not going for that one.
There'll be 1,000 people watching. No, Hallowcon, yeah, a little bit more intimate. and
Not intimate enough, but okay.
all these conventions blend together in my head. They're all one big convention.
And Hallowcon 23, you'll get a chance to meet Misty and Crow as well.
Cool.
I am looking forward to it. I do hope Crow is forgiving about how weird we can be.
They live with Rich.
They live with me. My brother-in-law, Mike, is almost as twisted as I am. You know, it's, and, you
They're
know, we
friends
used to live
with
right.
Nick.
Yeah. She had greater reach than Nick at 6 years old. They had greater reach than Nick at 6 years old.
They at 6 years old had greater reach than Nick.
Yeah. I saw I saw the video.
And she didn't have her arm completely straight. She could have got probably another good 2 inches if she would have straightened her arm all the way out. If they would have straightened their arm all the way out. I'm tired. I'm sorry.
That's okay. We understand.
But yeah, so and all right, I got to tell you how the entire thing came about real quick. So my middle daughter wanted to learn how to fence with us. So we brought her to practice and, you know, let her try to practice with Nick and stuff like that. And, you know, she was claiming Nick was using a longer sword. The only difference between the swords is the one that Brittany was using, my daughter, had a normal cross quillion and then a wheel pommel, where the one Nick was using had a basket hilt. Otherwise, it's the same length of blade. And one of Nick's favorite things is to take our practice weapons, put it against his forehead, have us straighten our arms all the way out, and to show you how much reach you have on him. So he's like, great, I don't even have reach on a 17-year-old girl. So I try to make him feel better. I call over the 6-year-old. I fucked
It
up.
failed.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, Josh. We're just about to close the show.
Oh, sorry, Josh.
Hey, Josh.
Sorry, Josh.
So
yeah, we're already 30 minutes over. So,
and then a couple months later, I had Crow at practice with me, and he's like, "We got to get this on tape so we can prove this to people." So he had me record the entire thing. So yeah,
Yeah.
And of course, my favorite part is where Nick calls me a giant techno Viking.
and the lie was where?
I didn't say it was a lie anywhere. I just said it was my favorite part because it's like, yeah, okay, yeah. Yeah, it's not a techno Vikingism. Okay, don't do that with that shoulder.
Yeah, really?
But yeah, so it's been a blast. So
Yeah. Say goodnight, Gracie.
good night, Gracie.
Thank
See
you
you
very
tomorrow
much.
night, or tonight rather.
Yeah, it's tonight now.
I'm
Yep.
glad you were here.
Happy to be here with you.
Well,
So it's
wouldn't
fun.
be able to do it without both of you. Or I could do it, but it'd be boring.
It'd be an entirely different experience altogether.
I don't know if I could monologue for 2 hours. Yeah, I could, but
You have.
yeah, I have.
Yep.
I've also slept for 5, but
Okay. Good night, guys.
good night. And we will do this thing right now.
Time to do some sketchy shit. Doo-dah, doo-dah. Hope I get away with it. Oh, da doo-dah day.
Transmission overload. System will shut down.
Woo!
goes shut down. System goes shut down. System goes shut down.